parents and students. We are so glad to have you in our Smyrna Dancers Company teams for the 2023 season. As some of you may know, we are attending the Festival of Trees this Monday. So I am giving you guys a guide on how to pack, what to bring, and how to have a safe and prepared performance. So starting off with bags, I usually bring a larger duffel bag. If you have one smaller child or if you don't need that much space, it is okay to bring a smaller bag, just as long as you can keep it organized and ready to go. Whatever bag you choose is perfectly okay. First thing you're going to pack is your costumes. If you have more than one child, I would separate them with another item, or just make sure you know which one's which, especially if you have two children in the same dance. If you have costumes that are able to be folded without being damaged, please do. Be cautious of any costumes that can be damaged, such as bigger skirts, heavier detail, anything that could get snagged on things. So those are just going to be set at the bottom of the bag. I would suggest bringing hangers. So that way if your kid has a quick change, you can just keep it backstage and be ready to help. So the next thing you're going to want is a team jacket. We are giving out a temporary team jacket for Festival of Trees. This will be worn off stage to keep us together so we can see our children on our team, make sure we're all together, and make us look more unified as a group. You will be handed these at the Saturday rehearsal this weekend. This is our old one. Our new one is pink. It is just a plain pink bomber jacket. So I'm using the old one just as an example because we don't have them yet. You're going to just fold it neatly and place it on top of the children's costumes. It would be more beneficial if they wear it to the event. If you need to pack it for whatever reason, if you have an event beforehand, you can, but when you are at the event, at the venue, please have your child wear these at all times. All right, the next thing we're gonna look at is things to go under your costume. These are all very important. These are things that you want to have with you no matter what. So the first thing you're going to want is every dance is going to be prepared with flesh-colored tights. I know your packing list will say tan tights. Obviously, just match it to your child's skin tone. I usually would like to bring 2 pairs. Children rip their tights so easily. I don't know how many times we've been to a dance competition and a kid runs around and their tights get snagged. All of a sudden, there's a big hole. So please try to bring 2 tights. If you don't have the time to get 2 pairs, that is all right, but it's just better to have an extra. So usually I just place those in the side somewhere or wear them. My suggestion is when you come to the event, have your child in their first costume. I will send out the order with their tights, in a pair of street shoes, and the jacket over it. So that way they are ready to go. Hair and makeup, first costume, jacket, and you can just throw them in a pair of Crocs, tennis shoes, something easy to slide on. So the next thing you're going to want, I don't have these in the correct color yet, is a pair of black shorts to go under your costumes. I know the girls who are only in the hot chocolate number already have shorts built into their costumes. So obviously if that is the only number your child is in, that is fine. However, the girls in the white dresses will need black shorts. I will get with you in person on who needs shorts and who doesn't, but there are 3 different kinds of shorts you can get. These are just your basic dance shorts. You can get them at any dance store. These are highly recommended. They're very good and can be used for multiple different reasons. These would actually be good to have for dance class, competition season. They're a basic kind of spandex style short, and you can get them at dance stores. Don't mind the cat in the back. Another type you can use is a basic pair of gymnastic shorts. These are going to be a little stretchier, a little shinier. They may not look as unnoticeable on stage, but they are still acceptable. These can be purchased at any store that sells gymnastics, dance clothes, cheerleading clothes, anything like that. So these will also work. They're a little longer and a little more full coverage, so that may make your children more comfortable if they're a little more conservative with their shorts. Another option you can get is these spandex bikini bottom shorts. They are full coverage in the back. They're still gonna cover the backside. This will work great for the smaller kids. Just because they're smaller, and if you have a shorter costume, they won't show as much. So obviously, please keep these in black. You can get these online. They're just a cheer short. Honestly, there are some retail stores that do have these shorts, but please make sure they are tight fitting. No Sophie shorts, no loose baggy shorts. Make sure they are tight to the body. They don't have to be so tight they hurt, but just make sure they are up against the body, no loose fabric. The next the next thing you want to pack definitely is going to be your dance shoes. Each number is going to have different shoes. Those will be on your packing list, but just kind of going to go over basics. If you have 2 children, I would pack in the side pockets. One child's shoes on one side, one child's on the other. Please keep them separate. It's going to be very confusing, especially if you have 2 to 3 children packing in the same bag. Keep them separate. It's honestly sometimes better to pack them in 2 separate bags, but if you need to pack in the same, that is all right. So for example, hip hop shoes for the trio would go in first because they're bigger. If you need tap shoes, so that would be Aki and Marissa, they will go in next. Ballet shoes, if you need those, so the Haley's solo, the duet, anything that needs ballet shoes will go in the bag next. Then would you be your black jazz shoes. Every single person, short of Marissa, needs a pair of black jazz shoes. We use the Block Sparks. If you cannot find them, please make sure just the front matches. It would be a elastic side with a base front. Do not get the elastic centers. They do not match. But if you need to go a different brand that looks similar, that is all right. And then the final shoes you may need are your half soles. These are usually used for solos, duets, and trios. You should have discussed with me shoes by now. If you have not, please come see me. All right, the next thing you're going to want to pack as far as large items go is going to be a water bottle and snacks for your kids. Definitely please be careful with the water bottle and only bring clear liquids. We're wearing costumes that are very expensive and we cannot afford to get them stained as well as our shoes. So please, please, please clear liquids only and try to keep it down to water because even clear sodas can get sticky. So I don't personally have a big water bottle for the kids. Usually we bring a plastic one, which is perfectly fine, but just have your water bottle. Make sure it will not spill. Keep it safely packed. If you have to put it in a lunchbox, that is perfectly fine. And just kind of set it, in a corner somewhere so it's out of the way, but you can still get to it easily. The next thing you're going to want to bring as far as that goes is snacks. I would bring just a lunchbox of easy snacks, nothing that can stain, no sauces, no syrups, none of that. Just quick grab and go, chips, fruit snacks. If you want to bring sliced apples or grapes, that would be perfect, but just try to keep it to things that cannot mess up your child's costume. These costumes are very expensive. Some of them are custom made. We don't want to mess them up. We would like to use them for future performances. So those can usually go in a lunchbox, small bag, even a Ziploc bag is perfectly fine. The next thing you're going to want to discuss bringing is going to be your makeup and hair products. This is where it gets a bit complicated. I'm sending out a video of how to do the makeup and hair. This is what you will need to do it, but I will send out videos of how to do the company hair. Some of you have been excused from the makeup and hair. I believe there's only 2. But please let me know if your child's hair is too short to do the look, if you can't do it for whatever reason, so we can make a modified version. So the first thing you're going to want is your child's foundation, powder, concealer. You don't have to go all out with this, just something that can base your child's face. If your kid's younger, you may want to go with just a plain powder because, if they're 6 or 7, you don't need to go with the full face. If your child's older, maybe has a little bit of acne, which is totally okay, maybe you want to go with the foundation or just the concealer is a good middle ground. You're welcome to use as much as you're comfortable with as far as base makeups, but you do need at least a powder base just to even everything out. Because with the oily skin, if you don't use a base, it will show on stage. Lighting is a big thing with makeup. If you don't have a base on, lighting can hit you, and you're gonna glow like a headlight. I'll be honest. So that should all go in a makeup case. Just a small makeup kit is perfectly fine. So I just place everything in a small little makeup. The next thing you're going to want is a blush in your child's skin tone. Not quite, just something that complements their skin tone, pink or red. Try not to go with anything crazy bright, something that just complements them. So I like the Maybelline Fit Me blushes. They're well pigmented and easy to work with. They come off easily, but they still don't disappear after time. The next thing you're going to want is going to be your eyeshadow. We are going with a neutral eyeshadow this year. So whatever you guys have at home currently works. I like the ColourPop palettes personally. The one I'm using I have 2 palettes that I'm using. The Golden palette by ColourPop is really nice. It's got plenty of good neutrals with just a bit of shimmer. Please try to keep as close to the makeup tutorial as humanly possible. I know not everything's going to be perfect, but please try to follow if you can. Alright, so the palettes obviously may not fit in your makeup bag, in which case just place them in a place where they will not get makeup all over your costumes. So a side pocket would be ideal. The other palette that I would suggest that I know a lot of people have would be the James Charles Morphe palette. It has plenty of neutral tones. I know it has the extras, but it has a good chunk of neutrals that will go well and are easy to apply with good pigment. I know a lot of our parents will have these because so many people have them, so that's another good option just as an example. You don't need these two palettes specifically. Those are just good options. Try to match as much as you can with what you have. There's no need to go out and buy a $40 palette for one performance. The next thing you're going to want is either an eyeliner or a lipstick, or eyeliner or mascara. So for the younger children, as far as varsity and JV goes, you're welcome to pick one or the other. For the younger kids, I would suggest the mascara. If you're comfortable with your child wearing both, that would be great, but I know some parents are iffy on the large amounts of makeup, even if it is for stage. Senior varsity is required to wear both, eyeliner and mascara. If you have issues with eyeliner, don't worry about winging it. You can try, but it's super easy to apply. I will go over that more in the makeup tutorial, but try to keep at least one, if not both. Both is ideal, but obviously if your comfort level is not with your child wearing eyeliner, or if your child is sensitive to makeup like that, no worries, just pick one. All right, the next thing you're gonna want in your makeup bag is going to be a red lipstick that matches your child's skin tone. Please keep it to red. Shades of red are fine, as long as it is not so dark it looks purple. You can see what complements your child's skin tone best as you see fit, but please make sure it is a bold and matte colored red lipstick. We don't want lip gloss, we don't want pink, we don't want purple, no black, something that stays on, pops, and is preferably not shiny. You can use a liquid to matte lipstick like this one, or an actual lipstick, but please make sure it is something that will stay on throughout the day. Lip gloss is not ideal because it won't stay on very long and it won't show up on stage. You want something bold that you can see from across the room. The next thing you're going to want is going to be as far as brushes go. If you are wearing foundation or concealer, please bring a beauty blender. So you can use just the egg-shaped ones, you can use the makeup wedges, there are the halved ones, as long as it's something to blend your child's makeup. That can also go in the makeup bag. The next thing you're going to want is if your child is older or you are concerned about sensitive skin, it is optional, but I would suggest a primer. I use an e.l.f. primer. You don't need it, but it is good for kids who have sensitive skin or trouble getting makeup off. Another thing you're definitely going to want is makeup wipes. Kids are going to smudge their lipstick. Kids are going to smudge their eyeshadow. Makeup's going to get everywhere. Someone's going to eat food and is going to wipe their lipstick off. It is always a good idea to have something to clean up with. So makeup wipes, makeup wipes, makeup wipes. They are so important. You could go through a whole pack in a day doing this dance stuff. So please try to bring them and have them easily accessible. The next thing you're gonna want is some makeup brushes of various sorts. So the ones that I suggest is if you're using a powder brush, just something similar like this, a brush for blush, you have two options as far as that goes. You can either do a flatter brush if you have a smaller child, or if you need to cover more, you can do another powder brush. Just make sure it's a separate brush than what you use for your facial powder, or else you will get red blush all over your child's face. The next thing you're going to want is going to be various eyeshadow brushes. What I would suggest is having three. One packing, which is going to be one with either a thin tip like this, or a very stunted tip, something you can easily put a lot of eyeshadow on with. The next one I would suggest would be a crease brush, which would be something flatter along the sides like this to get the area right here. And the final one I would suggest would be a blending brush. This is going to be a wider brush that will just gently make sure the makeup blends well. You can use plenty of other brushes, but we can go over that in the makeup tutorial. Just make sure you have what you need as far as brushes go for eyeshadow. As far as any other brushes that you would like to bring go, highlighter, you are more than welcome to bring them. They are not required. All right, the final thing you would like as far as facial care and makeup goes is going to be a chapstick. It's not required. I suggest it. Lipstick and the stage lights and the heat can just dry out lips so quickly. I would just suggest having it for your kids' comfort. So once you have that makeup bag put together, place it neatly where you can get to it easy. Please separate your makeup from your costumes. Even if it's closed, it can still bust open, it can break. Just try to keep it separate where if anything happens, it gets in a bag, not all over a very expensive costume. All right, so the next thing you're definitely gonna want is hair stuff. You're going to want a hairbrush. No matter what your kid's hair type, hair falls out, you may have to be ready to redo it on the spot. So please bring a hairbrush. If you have a child with thicker hair, you may want a comb. Just whatever you would use to get that hairstyle in. Hair ties, obviously very, very, very important. You want extras as well, just in case. Make sure your child does not keep these on their wrist when they go on stage, or generally at all, because they will forget them and they will go on stage with a big pink rubber band around their wrist. And that's all everybody's gonna be looking at, is why does this little girl have a neon yellow thing on her hand? The next thing you're going to want, I have it in a small box because I haven't bought a bag for it yet, but bobby pins. If you're not familiar with bobby pins, they're just these small little pins. They come in packs. You can get them at the grocery store. You can get them at a drugstore. Pretty much anywhere that sells hair ties, you can find bobby pins. I suggest bringing as many of these as humanly possible. Bobby pins fly at dance competitions and dance events. So please try to bring as many bobby pins as you can. Usually though, if you run out, someone will have an extra. The next thing you're going to want is going to be a bun maker. We are actually using these in the hair tutorial. So they're commonly known as donuts. Some come apart, some do not. You can find them at any hair store, you can find them at drugstores, and even some grocery stores will have them. It's just a small sponge. Try to fit it to your child's head. It should be about the size of the crown of their head. And just one of these, make it easy to keep that perfect sock bun look. We will discuss that more in the hair tutorial, but this is something you will need. The last thing you're going to need as far as hair goes is going to be hairspray. You can get travel size hairsprays, or you can get the larger can, whatever you're comfortable with. I would suggest a extra hold or a freezing hairspray. I know it's going to be harder to get out of your child's hair, but we want to look slick and clean and match on stage. So you want something that will pull your child's hair back and keep it there. Because once again, if your child's hair falls out, they may mess with it, it may get in their face, it may get in the way of them dancing. So the stronger the hairspray that you're comfortable with, the better. All right, so moving on to the last couple things that are just a good idea to have is going to be a first aid kit. Just basic, you can get it as large or as small as you want. We will be bringing one, but I still suggest you have your own just so you have your preferences. Good things to keep in this would be Band-Aids, Neosporin, itch cream, if your child needs lotion, any medications that your child may need on hand, ibuprofen or Motrin, anything like that, nausea, anything that you may need for over-the-counter meds for your children. So ours has plenty of different things. If your child is old enough to have feminine hygiene needs, definitely put those in here as well. So you see we have Neosporin, we have some nausea pills, we have some allergy medication. All of these are over the counter. You can get them pretty much anywhere. We have Pamphrin just because, you know, older children may need it. Motrin, which we have the liquid. You can also bring the pills for ibuprofen. It's really up to you. Tylenol is also okay. Band-Aids, itch cream, and then we have multiple sizes of Band-Aids. And then we all just have it nicely in a zipped up bag. Like I said, if there's anything you happen to forget in the kit, we will have one with us. But please try to bring your own just as a preparation. I'm not gonna zip it right now because I'm having issues. The final thing you're gonna need is, well, the final 2 or 3 things. If you have any props for your dances. So for instance, in Olivia's solo, she has a microphone. If you are in charge of bringing a prop, you will know about it. I will tell you if you're in charge of bringing a prop there. If you are not spoken to by me, you do not need to worry about it. So Olivia, I know, has a prop. I know the hypnotist has a prop. So we'll discuss this at the studio. You're just going to want to put those where you can easily reach them. Final two things you're going to want are kind of a given, but we still need to discuss them. Deodorant. Please, it doesn't matter if your child is 6 years old or 16. Please bring deodorant. They are going to sweat more than they usually do under stage lights. It gets way hotter than it will in the middle of the day. It is never a bad idea to wear deodorant. And if you have a child that is 10 years old or older, please encourage them to reapply throughout the day. Our final thing that you're going to want is any chargers, any electronics, anything to keep your child busy. Please don't make it too big. You don't need to bring an entire play set, but if your child has an iPod, maybe something to listen to their music for their dances, that would be ideal. Chargers for that, if you want earbuds, anything like that. Comfort objects for your kid, maybe they have a stuffed animal that really makes them comfortable. That is totally fine. All of this should fit in your bag, and you should bring it with you. If you have any questions about packing, please let me know. You are more than welcome to have me double check your bag at the studio rehearsal on Saturday if that would make you more comfortable. Thank you so much for joining us for Festival of Trees, and we are excited to have a great season in 2023, and I'm happy to see you this weekend. Bye.